So I want to talk about this 5 minutes very briefly about the so-called refugee crisis, now that we don't have the politicians here. For us, it's not a refugee crisis. So I think, a personal thing, and I shared this thoughts with Ramon the other day, that this is a right of asylum crisis, or you can call it a European values crisis also, or I would say also a European management crisis, or a humanitarian crisis, but don't call it refugee crisis, please. It's not unprecedented. Unfortunately, we have so many precedents in the last history. So we, as Eurocentral thoughts, we always say no because it's from us. It's very important for us. But we have had crises now in Congo, Central African Republic, in Bosnia, in Rwanda, which were much more numbers and much more humanitarian. People were much more. How do you call this? So it's not a European crisis again. You can ask Turkey or Lebanon or Jordan if they think it is a European crisis, and the answer will be absolutely not, for sure. And it's not overwhelming. So it's the 0.2 of the European population, which is nothing. It's really, really nothing. And there is not a European answer. So for us, well, as you know, the migration and asylum is just individual state competence, and the European Union does what it can. But it's all the time it's the European states that are dealing with this. So we would like a European answer. It would be certainly better for the case of state. Let me pass the floor to Ramon, who's going to tell you how we deal with immigration, and because something is very important, it's been said before, is this is going to be a city. It's a city problem. It's a city. Cities welcome and have the refugees and migrants living in the streets, and not states. So states do the policies, do the big policies, and we have to receive people and we have to take care of them. And this is a very important issue, and that we are trying to deal with in Europe, in Spain, and elsewhere we go. So let me tell us here also this thought, which is not an epidemic, that this is really a city problem, and it would have to be dealt in a city scale.
Crisis came in 2007, 2008, and unemployment sharply increased. We had 7% of unemployment in 2006, and went up to 20% very fastly in 2 or 3 years. And this really hit especially some clusters, some groups, youth immigration skyrocketed to up to 50%, and migrant unemployment too, it's doubling the national unemployment rate. Before the crisis was more or less the same. After the crisis, really, migrants got the worst of the crisis. This you have to add, this is the situation. We had a real banking crisis, so many migrants who had bought, many people who had bought houses that were evicted because of the crisis. We have in the city of Barcelona one of the neighborhoods which is known as the eviction village, because it's one of the places in Europe with more evictions. And it's really affected many families who lost their houses. And at the same time we had austerity policies ruled by the European Union, by the Troika, by whenever, by the state too. And that means it's not rhetorics. This is not rhetorics. Austerity means less doctors, means less hospitals, means less school teachers, means that my daughter in the school had 25 pupils in a classroom, and it goes up to 28, okay? And this means austerity. It means also less social benefits, shorter periods to receive social benefits, so it means a lot of people without this net of security that the state provides. We had a weak welfare state. The crisis, the austerity policies really provoke a shock in our policies who affect people. At the end, during the last years, we have experienced a big difference between some neighborhoods and other rich and poor, and the difference between richer and poorer neighborhoods has expanded. But nevertheless, if you look at what I was telling you, this growth, rapid growth of immigrants in a very short period of time, and then suddenly a big crisis with this unemployment, everybody would thought, well, this is going to cause a big social tension in the city of Barcelona. Ethnic people is going to fight for scarce resources. The people is going to compete. But we haven't experienced that. What we have seen is that the perception of immigration as a problem has diminished quite a lot. Okay? It seems strange compared with other countries that have experienced also problems and crises like us, like Greece, for example, where you see a xenophobic party like Golden Dawn with important support. And this is a reality. I could go and try to explain why, but we don't have time. We have to focus on other issues. And this is more or less the description of what happened in the city regarding to migration, especially migration, and very, very little refugee situation. Okay. Yes. Well, the title here is Spain is not a country of refugees until now. Okay. Why? Why is this title? Okay. Because if you see the numbers of petitions of asylum seekers, for example, in 2015 it was only 14,000 for the whole Spanish state. This is a ridiculous number. If we take into account we are a country of 46 million. So it's only 1.1% of the total EU asylum seekers petitions. Also, most petitions are rejected. 2 out of 3 of the petitions of asylum seekers in Spain are rejected. So this is why we are not a country of refugees. We are a country of migrants. Nevertheless, things are changing, and things are changing very fast. And I would say it's the local governments who are leading this change. For example, our mayor is very active, promoting a big sensitive more awareness on the issue of the refugees. Other mayors, like the mayor of Madrid, Valencia, other mayors are also joining and are pushing the state to accept more quota of resettlement from Turkey or relocations from Greece or Italy. After our mayor did a very political statement in order to host and receive more refugees, our state committed to increase the number of resettlement.